Hello everyone, welcome to Come Sit at My Table. We are Tom and Melissa, and we're thrilled that you're here with us for this video. Before I start, let me tell you that Melissa and I have been on vacation, and while we were gone, I was perfectly fine. But within 10 hours of getting back to Kentucky, my allergies went haywire. I am completely congested from the neck up. I have a little bit of a sore throat from the drainage, but I do have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, so hopefully I'll start feeling a little better after that. I'm not sick, it's just allergies. It's what we call the Kentucky crud. Okay, let's move on. We have started a Thanksgiving playlist, and we are going to show you later how to access that Thanksgiving playlist with videos that you might want to watch for ideas for foods for Thanksgiving. This is one of those videos that we will put on that Thanksgiving playlist because you cannot have Thanksgiving dinner without cranberry sauce. Now I know most of us, including us, usually just open a can, take the end off, and dump out the cranberry sauce, and we slice it and everybody eats it. And I'm not going to kid you. I love that cranberry sauce. It's one of my favorite parts of the meal. But the truth is, the best cranberry sauce is homemade cranberry sauce. And it's easy to make. So let's talk about what you're going to need to make cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving this year. First, we're going to start with 1 cup of just regular white sugar. Half a cup of brown sugar. Now, I have not packed that in. It's just in there loosely. So you don't want to really pack it in because you don't want too much sweetness in this dish. You do want it sweet because the cranberries are really tart. But just half a cup of loose brown sugar. You're going to need half a cup of water. You're going to need 1 orange. Now, not only are we going to use the orange juice, but we're also going to zest the orange and use the zest in the dish. So you'll need a whole orange, and we're hoping to get at least half a cup of orange juice out of this, maybe a little more. You're also going to need a 12-ounce bag of whole cranberries. Now, cranberries, of course, grow in cranberry bogs. And when they harvest them, they flood the bog, the cranberries float to the top, and then machines skim them off there. Occasionally, you will find a stem or a little stick or maybe even a leaf in the bag of cranberries. And even though they probably do spray them and wash them off a little bit, they're not completely clean. So we are going to wash these, and we will pick through them to make sure there's nothing in there that we don't want in. Occasionally, you'll even find a cranberry that has kind of shriveled or gone bad. So we will go through them and look at that too. And the very last thing we will put in right at the end is just a big pinch, maybe 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. All right, so what you're going to need is a large saucepan. And we're going to just add our 2 sugars, our white sugar and brown sugar, and our half cup of water. And we are going to turn the fire on about medium and let that start to heat up. We will stir that just a little bit and let those sugars start to dissolve and let that start to heat up some before we add in our cranberries, our orange juice, and our orange zest. All right, so that is stirred together. We will let that just sit there and begin to heat up. Now, Melissa and I were just on a cruise, and we met a really nice couple. But she was telling us that she had left instructions for her husband to make a dish for dinner, and one of the steps was to zest an orange. And when she got home, John said, "How in the world do you zest an orange?" Well, she told that story on him. I'm going to turn that down just a hair. She told that story on him. But I took up for him. Because if you've never zested an orange or you've never seen someone do it, you don't know how. So, John, this is for you. This is a zester. It is really rough on one side. And you would think this is the top. But it's actually the bottom. This is what I consider the top because as you zest an orange, it catches that orange zest. If you turned it over to zest it, that would all fall off. And to zest the orange, you want to just barely take off that orange part on the very top of the orange. You do not want to go deep because if you do, you'll get into that white pithy part, and that is very bitter. You do not want the white part of the orange peel to be in your zest.
That smells nice.
Doesn't that smell good?
It does.
Such a clean, fresh smell. See how it's catching all that? That's why you want that to be the top. So, you just zest that and let it catch that. And then we'll just lay it over to the side and wait to put it in after we get our orange juiced and ready to put it in. All right, let me grab a knife here. Okay, that's needing sharpened. So we're just going to take our orange and juice it. I'm hoping we get at least half a cup out of this. If not, I do have another orange that I bought just to make sure, but I think we can get half a cup. Oh my goodness, we're almost at a half a cup already. And that was only half the orange. Okay, let's see if that'll do it. Yeah, that's half right there, but you know what? I think I'm just gonna put the extra in there. That'll just give it extra flavor, won't it?
I love orange juice. Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, Melissa is an orange juice fan. Tomato juice is my favorite juice. But she loves orange juice. Okay, so we have our orange juiced and zested. I'm going to add that to the pan. Oh, I'm sorry. I just hit your camera. And we're going to stir that in. Let that come back up to a boil. And we're going to go right now and put that orange zest in. All we have to do now is turn it over and hit it, and it goes right in. Now, we need to take care of these cranberries. Oop, 2 runaway cranberries. So, I am going to kind of rinse these off, wash them off, get the dust, dirt, whatever off of them. And then I'm going to grab a towel and I'm going to dump these out so I can look through them just to make sure there's nothing in there that we need to take out. We're looking for stems, leaves, shriveled cranberries, anything that looks bad. Okay, look at this one. See how that's been mashed? So I'll probably take that one out, put it over here, just to make sure. This is what my mom and dad always called looking the cranberries. They always did this to beans too. If they were fixing soup beans or navy beans, they would always look the beans. We had company at our house one time, and they said to her, we have to look the beans before we start cooking them. And she said, you have to what? And they said, we have to look the beans. And she said, why do you need to look at the beans? And they said, well, you don't look at the beans, you look the beans. You're just looking to make sure that there's nothing in them. Now, as these heat, these cranberries will begin to pop, and you'll hear them. I mean, they literally pop open like, it's almost like a kernel of corn popping. They pop open, their skin burst. They have to do that in order for the inside to become soft. Otherwise, you would have a tough, hard cranberry to try to chew on. So we're going to turn this fire up to medium-high, and we're going to let these start to cook. Now, I know you don't want to stay here and wait for these to start popping. So we will cut, and when we get them to start cooking and popping, we'll come back and let you see what that looks like. And then we're going to let this simmer. We'll turn it down and let it simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. And we'll stir it occasionally just to make sure it's not scorching or whatever. And after about 20 or 30 minutes, it should be about ready. And we'll add that cinnamon in right at the very end. Okay, let us get these started cooking, and when they start popping, we'll be right back. All right, it has been simmering for a few minutes. And as you can see, most of the berries have popped. You can see they're already starting to become kind of mushy. You can see how they've kind of gelled. But there are a few that are still whole and have not popped yet. So you can let them just keep cooking and hope they pop. Or you can take a potato masher and just kind of force them to. Just kind of go through them, push down a little bit. I don't go all the way down. I just kind of go close to the bottom and just try to make them pop open if they haven't. Now, this is not something you have to do. There's no reason to really do this unless you're just in a hurry and want to force them to pop open. But it is an option if you want to do it. I normally do not do this, but I wanted to show it to you in case you felt like you needed to hurry and get them popped. So that's the only reason I'm doing it tonight. I normally do not do it this way, but it is an option. Okay. Now, you can see that it is gently simmering, and we're going to let it continue to do that for about 20 minutes or so, 20 to 30 minutes. See, here's another one that has, well, no, it has popped. Sorry, I thought it hadn't. But as they cook, they will pop open. It just is that some of them are harder and, you know, just, it takes them a little while. All right, so we're going to let this simmer, and when it has cooked down, by the way, I do usually keep a little screen over it. That just allows the steam to escape so that it can thicken, but it keeps it from popping all over your stove. Nobody wants to have to clean up sticky cranberry sauce juice off their stove. So if you have a little screen like that, you may want to use it. I am going to turn my stove down to low. I've got it all the way down so that it's just barely simmering. And after it starts to thicken, we will be back and let you see what it looks like. All right, we'll be back in just a few minutes. I think our cranberry sauce is just about ready. So come in and look at the consistency of it. You can see that when I pull my spoon through it, it leaves a little bit of a trail before it closes back in on itself. And that's what you want. You want it to kind of leave a trail when you pull your spoon through it. Now, it will continue to thicken as it cools. So we're going to turn it off, and we're going to move over to the counter. Now, let me tell you that some bags of cranberries are a lot more tart than other bags. and this bag was really tart. So I did taste the cranberry sauce, and it's sweet, but it's kind of tart. And you want it to be tart because it is cranberries, but it didn't have quite enough sugar. So I'm just going to add another 1/4 of a cup of sugar. And we're going to add about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. Actually, 1/8 of a teaspoon is just kind of a big pinch. But we are going to add that in and make sure it dissolves before we pour it into a bowl. Now, let me tell you one of the nice things about cranberry sauce, making cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving. It is a food that you can make well ahead of time. If you're having Thanksgiving dinner at your house on Thanksgiving Day, on Thursday, pardon me, you could easily make this as early as Monday. It will easily keep 2-3 days, maybe even more, in the refrigerator.
You just scrape the other side.
Which other side? Over here? Oh, I didn't get all that sugar, did I? Thank you for telling me that. You can make this well ahead of time, which is really nice. In fact, you definitely want to make it ahead of time because it has to cool. You want it to be in the refrigerator and to set up. So what I'm doing right now is just checking to make sure that sugar dissolved, and it has. So we will pour this into our bowl. There are still chunks of cranberries in here. They're not huge, but there are pieces of cranberry. So it's not completely smooth like that can of Ocean Spray cranberry sauce that you would open. But it's pretty smooth. They've cooked up pretty well. There are some chunks though. And honestly, I like the chunks. I think the chunks in it just make it taste homemade. So, hang on a minute and let's scrape this out of here. We don't want to leave any, do we? Let me go around the edge. Get all of that out. Best I can, anyway. That's a half a bite for somebody right there. Okay. Now, isn't that a beautiful color? That is so pretty. And it just tastes like Thanksgiving. Now, of course, this is not ready to eat. It's hot. And before you can eat it, it has to come to room temperature. You need to cover it and then refrigerate it. And it's going to need to be refrigerated for several hours before you can eat it. So that's why I said it was best if you could make it ahead of time. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to let this come to room temperature. We will cover it. Excuse me. And several hours from now, maybe even tomorrow, we will come back and we will sample it. We'll taste it for you. All right. We'll see you as soon as it gets cold. Our cranberry sauce has chilled for several hours, and we have scooped it out into a different bowl. The nice thing is that you can just kind of stir it up and scoop it into a prettier bowl after it's gotten cold, and it looks really nice. Now, this recipe is going to be on our Thanksgiving playlist. And it's a list that Melissa has made of all of our recipes, all of our videos that go with Thanksgiving. To find that, you would go to our homepage. At the top, it will say Home, Videos, Shorts, and then you'll see the word Playlist. If you click there, there's a whole list of different kinds of playlists, and one of those will say Thanksgiving. If you click on it, you'll see all the recipes that go with Thanksgiving. All right, let's do a little taste test. I am going to tell you that I do have a little bit of a problem with this dish. I made this ahead, so I wouldn't have to make it at the last minute. And it's not going to last until Thanksgiving. So I'm going to have to make another batch. That is absolutely perfect.
How's the sweetness, the tartness?
I'm glad I added that extra 1/4 cup of sugar. It's tart, hits you right here. but it's the perfect amount of sweetness. It's not too tart, not too sweet. It's perfect. And by the way, before we started, I asked Melissa if she wanted a bite, and she said,
I've already brushed my teeth tonight. They'll taste really sour.
that is so good. And I like that there's still little chunks of the cranberries in there. It didn't all just kind of mush up. There are some little chunks in there as you eat it. That's delicious. I guess I'll be making another batch. Thank you so much for watching our videos. We are always happy when you come sit at my table. We appreciate that you have joined our channel. If you have not already subscribed, you only have to do that once. Just go right below the video and click that subscribe button and the little notification bell beside of it and the word all. That way YouTube will always notify you when we put up a new video. And we would appreciate if you'd go below the video and give us a like. That just tells YouTube that people liked our video, and that gets them to share it more. And of course, we always appreciate when you share our channel with other people. Thank you again. We sure do appreciate all of you that have subscribed to our channel. You are always welcome to come sit at my table. Happy Thanksgiving.